if Usain Bolt was to walk in the yard, he'd make us all feel a little bit insignificant, and because he'd stride with a purpose and he's got a real swagger to him. Kameko's got this wonderful light athletic glide to him. You can barely hear, a bit like Roaring Lion was the same, you can barely hear their footfall. They're so well balanced, and it's almost like watching water run down a fountain. He's just got that lovely light, loose action. 12 months ago, almost exactly, Kameko won the Qipco 2000 Guineas at Newmarket in the fastest ever time. And so it's a really good opportunity, I think, to look at a supreme athlete and try and discuss and identify what the key points are that make him that much different to the ordinary horse. One of the things that really appealed to us about him when we saw him as a yearling was his fantastic action. Because it doesn't matter how muscle-bound you are and strong you are, if you can't move, obviously it all defeats the purpose, because he's got to move from A to B faster than any other horse. Look for swagger, look for presence. I remember when Roaring Lion came into the paddock for the Irish Champion Stakes, he was there for a purpose, and you could see it in his stride and his action. This horse is not dissimilar, and they're both by the same stallion. They're both by Kitten's Joy. I mean, for me, one of his most brilliant things is this incredible length of hip he's got, which is quite an American thing. He's got this big hip from hip to pin, which gives him all the power. He's got a fantastic second thigh. He's got good depth and a wonderful shoulder. You very rarely see a good racehorse that doesn't have a big sloping shoulder. So that gives him the length of stride. The key thing is that he's got to have balance, because without balance it's all an effort. Scope is exactly what we were discussing just now with regards to that length of reach. Instead of his shoulder and pelvis being on angles like that, they're like that, which gives him a much longer stride. And he has a ridiculously long stride length. He's only 4. He's still discovering his new role, and everything's a bit exciting and a bit of a change for him. Since he arrived here, having run in the Breeders' Cup, he's put on about 70 kilos, so he's massively, I mean, that's the weight of a person. Now changed shape. He wouldn't have had this massive shoulder and neck as a horse in training, because he was being trained light, fit and athletic. But that's also a mixture of the testosterone that's coursing through his body now, because he's incredibly fertile and covering 3 mares a day. He's extremely fertile. He's the most fertile stallion we've ever had. And the way we quantify that is that on one cover, he's around about 90%, which is just extraordinary. I think his first 20 mares or something, 19 was scanned in full. It's quite extraordinary. When he comes to cover his first mare, he's no idea that you've got to jump on and where you've got to put it and so on and so forth. But for some reason, this horse came in and within 3 minutes had covered his first mare. Looked slightly shocked. It was clearly a pleasant surprise for him. But and since then has never looked back. He's just the ultimate professional.